Hi team, I hope you're all well. This video, as you will see from the title, I will be reading a collection of BookTubers' favourites. I have recorded this intro before, but I've lost it, so we'll be doing it now at the end of the video. So this will obviously be coming at the beginning, and then I will look the same at the end when I'm doing the wrap up. So I did start off by recording and telling you my thoughts throughout with these books, but then just a lot of things happened in the month of February where I went through a week of tripping over a trigger I didn't know I had, and it caused absolute chaos with my mental health and with other things, and then I got carried away with reading and I completely forgot about this video until like last weekend, and then just it was a number of things. So I'm just going to wrap the books up at the end. I will put the footage in that I've already got in the middle, but then at the end it will taper off and there'll be a few books that I haven't mentioned yet until the very end when I'm wrapping them up. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Essentially, I've picked 14 of my favourite booktubers and I have picked 8 books in total. So some of these cross over, some of them are like only one booktuber has mentioned this book. So I just wanted this booktuber to sort of be in on this this video. So let me tell you the books and the booktubers that I've picked. So the first book that I've picked is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and the people that I've picked this because of are Ashley and Jade. So Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction and Jade from Jade Ray Reads, and this is a chunk of a book. This has been very hyped and I've heard amazing things. Then I picked The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean and David Hutchinson even, and I've picked this because of Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books. I absolutely adore Nicole, and out of all the books that she sort of mentioned, this was the one I'm most interested in, so that's why I've picked this one. Then I have got The Dry by Jane Harper, and I've picked this one because of Siobhan from Siobhan Louise Reads a Lot, and I've picked this because well, this has been on my shelf for the longest time and I want to read it so badly. I've heard nothing but great things and I really want to pick it up, so what more excuse to pick this up than now. I just thought it would be perfect. Then I've got Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I picked this up because of Eric from Break Even Books, and I'm really looking forward to picking this one up. When he mentioned this, I think it was in his December wrap up maybe, and he mentioned it that it was one of his favourite books of 2019, and I was like, oh my god, I need to read this because it sounds fantastic, and I think I literally wrote that in his comments as well. So I'm really glad to be picking this one up. I'm very excited indeed. Then I've got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'll be picking this one up because of Hayley in Bookland and also Bobby from Bobby Reads Too Much. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I've heard incredible things about this one, and I've got the audiobook as well. I think I've had the audiobook for a while, but now I've got the physical copy as well, and I'm really excited about this one. I can't wait to pick this one up. Next, I will be picking up Middle Game by Seanan McGuire, and I will be picking this one up because of Rachel from Rachel Marie's Book Journey and also Kayla from Books and Lala. They have both of them absolutely adore this book. They've done nothing but shout a riot about this book for the whole of 2019. So yeah, really looking forward to picking this one up. Also, I love the Way with Children series by Seanan McGuire, so high hopes for this one. Then I have got The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and I'll be picking this one up because of Becca from Becca and the Books. I also know a couple of other booktubers that are big fans of this series, so I have high hopes. This has been on my shelves for a very long time. And then I've got finally The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'll be picking this one up because of Gav from How to Train Your Gavin, G from Book Roast, Tia from Tia and the Books, and Desi from Pastel Pages. So there are quite a few books on here where there are crossovers with a couple of booktubers, and those are the reason was why I've picked those books out of the selection that they had on their favourite books of 2019. And then others where I just went through their videos and I was like, okay, yeah, I've got that on my shelves and I've been wanting to read it, so that's the book I'll pick. But yeah, very excited about this one, excited about them all. So there's a nice selection there. There's only one of them I don't own, which is The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried, so nice selection there to add to my already very big February TBR. So yeah, looking forward to it, and now you will see some videos of me going on about the books and then my wrap up. So yeah. Hello, please excuse the state of me. I am really poorly at the moment, but I need to talk to you. So This will be my first update, I think, since I did my intro to this video. So it is now Saturday the 1st of February. It's 23 minutes past midnight. I am suffering with a really bad cold. I was off work yesterday. I'm not very well, but I'm doing a 48-hour readathon and I was going to get an early night. But a thing has happened and now I need to talk to you about it. So before I get into that, earlier on this week, I read The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This was on Nicole's top books of 2019 from Beautiful Chaos of Books, and I really enjoyed it. It was really, really good. We were following 2 characters, and one of them, his parents basically run like a funeral home, and his best friend had died. His ex-best friend, they'd fallen out, and she ends up coming back to life, and it's basically the story of them just kind of going through the motions of why they fell out and what it was that caused that to happen, and how both of them had changed over that period of time and things like that, and why she had come back to life. Like, she was dead but she was awake. She was like a zombie, if you like. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the path that it took. The last, I would say, because I listened to it on audio, I would say the last half hour really sort of solidified that 4-star for me. It was really, really good. Also, I think it helped as well that I was, at the same time, I was physically reading, not at the same time I was listening to it, but, you know, in the same week, I was physically reading The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. Both of those are dealing with someone dying and coming back. So it was kind of like a strange week for me last week with my reading, but I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, really surprised, pleasantly surprised actually, and I'm so glad that I decided to pick it up. So nice call, Nicole. I do tend to sort of pick a few of Nicole's books up, and I do enjoy them. We do like similar books, so she really enjoys. On that same list, she had a couple of others that she'd mentioned that I've read this in the last year or two that I really enjoyed myself. So she also mentioned This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay, which was one of my favourite books of 2018. So we do have similar tastes, myself and Nicole. She does like a lot more thrillers than I do, so I will pick up the odd thriller, but I don't pick them up as much as she does. She is the thriller queen. So yeah, nice call, Nicole. I really enjoyed that one. It was very, very good. Then I also picked up Middle Game by Shauna Maguire. I was going to physically read this, but you know what? I don't know if it's that I was struggling with it or what, but I don't know what it is. It's quite... I don't know how to explain it. It's quite heavy. So this is dealing with 2 twins, Roger and Dodger, who have been made, if you like. So we've not got to the nitty-gritty of how they've been made, but there is a guy that has made them called Reed. Is it James Reed? I think it's James Reed. And it starts off with how James Reed came about, and it's quite technical, and I don't really know how to explain it. It's really difficult to explain, and I just struggled a little bit with the jargon and the words and stuff that were used. So I have decided to go in with the audiobook because I already had it. I was going to return it and I was going to try and physically read this because I really enjoyed like the first epilogue bit, not epilogue, prologue bit that started off the book. But that was sort of following Roger and Dodger, and then we sort of went into following how James came about. So I don't know. I think I'm going to continue with the audiobook. I got as far as page 53, so I'm not that far in at all. I am planning to continue with it, obviously. I am enjoying it. I just haven't since then felt the need to pick this up, which I want to do, obviously. I do think I'm going to enjoy it, but I just haven't wanted to pick it up since. But I did want to mention it, that I have picked it up. I have started it. Also, I will just mention very quickly that I did read Come Tumbling Down yesterday, Friday, yesterday. So love that, 4 out of 5 stars. It was really, really good. So Shauna Maguire is doing well so far in my eyes, but yeah, I will pick this back up at some point. I don't know what's wrong with me with it at the moment. However, I have decided to pick up Daisy Jones and the Six. I took the cover off because I don't want to ruin it. So I've picked this up in the last, well, let me tell you how long it's been, because I'm listening to the audiobook with the physical book. So I think I've been listening to this for about an hour now. So I'm like 2 hours into it, and I love this. I feel like, okay, so last year I read all of the Illuminae files and I loved it so much, like so much. It was amazing. Really loved it. If I hadn't loved The Heart So Fierce and Broken as much as I did, I genuinely believe that Gemina probably would have been like my favourite book of the year. So, which doesn't make sense, I know, if you go and watch my top 5 books of the year, because it would have been I Heart Hawaii otherwise. But Gemina was so close. Like, I Heart Hawaii was the nostalgic reasons for me, but Gemina was so close. I just loved it so much. Loved the whole of the Illuminae files, and I've been wanting something that has given me that feeling where it was such a good combination of following with the book. Like, I literally followed page to page with the book, like cover to cover with the book and the audio, and it was a really good reading experience, and I've wanted that so badly ever since. Now, there's been a couple of books that I have followed with the audio and the book, but not cover to cover, and I've wanted it so badly. Anyway, I've picked this up, and I think this is what I've wanted. I was really hoping Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel was going to be it for me, and it just was not. It was such a letdown. So I think this is going to be it. I'm loving this so much already. I am only 50 pages in. I'm up to debut, and I'm enjoying it so much. I'm here so far. I'm enjoying it so much. It's so good. I've texted Siobhan and I was like, I think I might have just found my favourite book of the year. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous. I'm very excited. I'm really excited now. Hello, I hope you're all well. Today is Sunday the 2nd of February, and I wanted to give you an update on how this is going. I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Let's give you an update. So I already told you that I have finished The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson, that I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was very good. I have now finished my second book of this series of this video, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Holy shit, I love this book. I don't know, I think I gave you an update partway through actually of what I thought of this book. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars, quite possibly my favourite book of the year so far. So, well, no, it is my favourite book of the year so far. Quite possibly my favourite book of the year, full stop. That's what I meant to do. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. The amount of times that I tried to Google Daisy Jones and the Six, or a song that they've done or something, it's just, obviously they're not real, but I just was so convinced that they were real, and I just loved it so much. The formatting was fantastic, the audiobook is great, I just loved everything about it, the writing style. I mean, I'm definitely picking up more from Taylor Jenkins Reid in the future. I'm so excited that Evelyn Hugo is on this TBR as well, because I cannot wait to pick that up. I believe that does that have a cast as well? The audiobook, I think that is supposed to be very good as well. So I loved this. I thought it was amazing. I just loved everything about it. It was fantastic. So 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. Great call from the people that picked this one. I can't remember who that was now. Where did I write? I need to write that down somewhere, don't I? Loved it. Great call. Well done. So yeah, 2 books down, and I've enjoyed both of them, so that's really good. I am partway through a third, which is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I started this last night. I am on a real bad, like, physical reading slump, which is weird. I think it's because I'm ill, so I apologise for the fact that I look like this. I spent yesterday having like a nosebleed for about 2 hours, and I'm just really poorly, so full of a cold, and I don't feel great. So I look like shit, but I wanted to update you. So I'm over 100 pages into this now, because I have just been listening to this. and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's going really well. It's basically everything I wanted from Sleeping Giants, and I didn't get that from Sleeping Giants, so I'm really enjoying it. This is going to be a really good one. I think my favourite character is, what is she called? Kizzy. She's my favourite character. I just think she's absolutely batshit crazy. I just think she's hilarious, and I think she's just gonna make this story. I just think she's so funny. I love her. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. If I was to predict a rating for this, I'm gonna say 4 stars. But yeah, enjoying it so far. Hoping to finish this today. I've got about 11 hours left of the audio, which is about 5.5 hours, so I'm hoping to finish it by this evening, which will be cool. But I really need to sit down and sort of get into it now, stop fucking about on here. So yeah, part way through this. I haven't gotten any further with Middle Game. I think I'm just going to leave it for now and pick it back up. I'll probably start it again next week. How that's going at the moment. So I'm going to continue with The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and I will keep you updated. I'll see you next time. Hello. I just thought I'd come and give you a little update on how Reading Booktuber's Favourites is going. So it's now Monday the 3rd of February. So just a general thing, I am 2 books down. I was on my 3rd, however I have DNF'd this today, which is really sad. Let me tell you where I'm up to. I am on page 249, so I'm probably, you know, 2/3 the way through the book. There was literally this left to do, and I cannot do it. I'm struggling, which is a shame, because I think yesterday I told you that I was really enjoying this. I've continued with it. I was enjoying it. So it starts off introducing you to the crew of the Wayfarer, which is a ship, and there is a new member joining the Wayfarer, so you're getting to meet the other crew through her eyes, essentially. And then they are sort of chasing down a big job if they can, and they get offered a big job to make a tunnel. So they go to do the big job. However, I thought it would then sort of kick in, you know. Sorry, just got really distracted by something. I watched Escape Plan last night on Netflix, and I have no idea that I've got it on DVD. Do you know why I've got it on DVD though? I took it from my brother while he stored all his DVDs in his loft at home, because obviously wife's pregnant and they need room in the spare room, so that was really distracting. I didn't know I had it. Sorry, back to the book. What was I saying? Yeah, so I thought them picking up this new job, it would become, you know, a bit more action-packed and we get into things a bit more, and I just didn't. And I'm just bored. I'm so bored. So bored. The only entertaining person in here is Kizzy. I am intrigued to find out, maybe, I mean, I don't know. I'm just bored. There's a relationship that I was sort of wanting to know more about, but I'm struggling with it, and I just don't care. So I've DNF'd it. Do I feel a bit bad? Yes, I don't particularly like DNFing books. I do it for the sake of my self-care, mental health, welfare and all that lot. I don't want to put myself in a slump, so I DNF books. But I don't particularly like doing it. Would I like to get to the end of this, considering I'm already 2/3 the way through? Yes. Can I be bothered? No. Do I care? Not particularly. I apologise. Becca, I didn't like one of your favourite books. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm not a fan. I can't do it. I cannot continue. The bookmark is going back in its bookmark tub. I can't do it. DNF. First DNF of the 10 books. So that's 3 books down now. I am planning on this week, for that sake then, I am planning on picking up back up Middle Game, because I did start this one. So this is Rachel and Kayla's favourite book of 2019. So I'm going to be picking this one up and we'll see how we get on with this. This was all tabbed up for a week and I think I might re-tab it actually to help me along. So I want to get through this if I can, and then maybe I might try and make a head start on Priory. I need to see how I get on with the rest of my TBR. I've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books on my TBR this month on top of this number 8. Not this month, this week. Jesus Christ, I'm so tired. So I need to get some reading done because I am way behind on my reading today. I feel irritated because I did sort of carry on with this for another couple of hours today while I was at work, and I just feel annoyed and a little bit irritated that I did that. But I got myself to a point where a couple of things happened in which, you know, they could have turned it into a great action scene and something could have happened and they just didn't. It's too nice. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I've gone into it being a sci-fi sort of fantasy, thinking there is going to be some action in here, and that's not the case, and I'm really disappointed. I'm gutted because I think G enjoys this one, and I know a lot of other people really enjoy Becky Chambers' writing. I'm just not a fan. I'm sorry. I didn't make this decision lightly. I spent like a solid half hour or so, maybe an hour, going through Goodreads and seeing what other people thought of the book, and several people managed to coherently write down their thoughts on this like they were looking into my brain. So I can't do it, I'm sorry. So middle game this week, that's what we're going to focus on. We'll see how this goes, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it won't be another DNF. That would be a real shame. I am going to go and get some tea and do some reading, and I'll check back in with you when I've got something else to tell you. Bye for now. Hi team, I hope you're all well. It's been a minute. Today is the Sunday the 16th of February, so it's been a while. I have been reading a lot. So I have a couple bits to tell you. So last time I updated you, I had finished two of the books. I think I'd finished 2. I was partway through 1 and I DNF'd 1. I think that's the last thing I told you. So I was partway through middle game. I'd finished Daisy Jones and the Six and The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried, and I had DNF'd a long way to a Small and Angry Planet. So I'm just sorry, I'm looking at my whiteboard that's on my fireplace that sort of tells me everything that's going on. It keeps my mind in check. So I have an update. I finished another 2 books, which is awesome. So what I have read is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I completely flaked on the fact, I don't know actually if I did or I didn't, I've probably mentioned it previously in this, but if I haven't, I completely flaked on the fact that there's 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid books in this readathon, in this reading vlog. So 5 out of 5 stars. I friggin' loved it. This is the story of Evelyn Hugo, who is it's a historical fiction. She's a Hollywood actress who made her way to LA in the 1950s, and it's just going through her story of everything that happened in her life from the 50s right up until her last couple of days, and takes you through the story of her 7 husbands and more. So it's amazing. It went in a direction I was not expecting it to take at all. It was so good, and yet again Taylor Jenkins Reid has done it yet again. She's made me believe that this person is a real person. I've been trying to Google her, I've been trying to look for some of the films that were mentioned. Obviously like Little Women is mentioned in here, which is a real film, but it's just incredible. Taylor Jenkins Reid really knows how to suck you into a story and believe every single thing that you read in. It's just unbelievable the way that she does it. So that's 2 5-star reads from Taylor Jenkins Reid for me. That's really hard to say with reads and read in the same sentence, because I loved Daisy Jones and the Six as well. So 5 out of 5 stars for this one. Absolutely incredible. Loved it so much. Then I picked up, well, I finished Middle Game. I've just finished it this morning, well, just now, and I just don't know. Oh God, I can't describe how I feel about this book. I've even gone through Goodreads to see if other people can describe how I feel about this book, because I'm struggling. So this is like a sci-fi fantasy following like an urban sci-fi fantasy following 2 twins called Roger and Dodger who were separated at birth, but they've been almost manufactured, if you like. So I don't know if they sort of explain that word specifically. Basically, Roger is skilled in words and languages and things like that. Dodger is skilled in maths, and they aren't exactly human. They're not entirely gods, but they're not exactly human. They've got a little bit of like magic in them, and they have been kind of made by an alchemist, if you like, where he goes through this, he's trying to make gods essentially, and every few years he produces several lots of twins, and Roger and Dodger are a set of the twins that we follow. So they were obviously split at birth, and then a few years in, I can't remember what age they are, maybe 7 or something, maybe a bit younger than that, they start to realise that they can hear each other talking to each other. So if they shut their eyes, they can have a conversation with the other person and see through that person's eyes. And at first they think it's an imaginary friend, and then they realise that it's actually real, and you just follow them through several different time zones within their lives. Like it jumps, like it might jump to 5 years in the future and then jump again to 7 years in the future or whatever. You get them to different time zones within their lives. It's just honestly a complete mindfuck. I don't know what's happened. I'm not too sure what I've just read. What I will say is, I enjoyed the interaction between Roger and Dodger. Those were my favourite bits. So the chapters in which we were following Roger and Dodger were my favourite bits, which to be honest, after the first probably 100 pages is more just Roger and Dodger than anything else. I didn't like following James Reed, who is the alchemist that has made Roger and Dodger. I didn't like following his side of things. Obviously he's the bad guy. I wasn't a fan of his. I think the audiobook has affected me, my sort of rating and enjoyment of this. It wasn't a very good audiobook, so I think that's affected it massively. But at the same time, I just didn't really, I wasn't feeling picking, I don't know, the first chapter I really was feeling picking this up physically, and then after a bit I wasn't. So I persevered with the audiobook, so I think that's affected my rating. Also the fact that I didn't fully understand what was going on. It is a huge mindfuck. There is a lot happening, and it is a huge mindfuck, and I just struggled with it really. I thought I was really going to love this based on Kayla from Books and Lala, her love, like she loved it. Based on Rachel from Rachel Marie Reads, she loved it. Based on the fact that I love the Wayward Children series, but it just didn't hit the spot for me, unfortunately, which is a shame. I have gone through Goodreads to sort of bring my thoughts together. I do this if I'm struggling with how to rate a book at the end and how I fully feel with it. I go through Goodreads reviews and see what other people are saying and go, oh my god, yeah, that's literally how I feel about it, so that rating makes a lot of sense. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I've done, and honestly probably 70 to 75% of these, I mean that's just a guessing, but from what I've seen, the majority of the ratings for this are 4 to 5 stars. People love this book, and it's like that's amazing. It's fantastic. I'm so glad that a lot of people have loved this book, because I've no doubt that if you fully sort of fell in love with the characters, like that's another thing, I didn't fully love the characters. I enjoyed Roger and Dodger, but I wasn't fully immersed in their lives. I didn't particularly care enough, to be honest. So if you did, that's awesome, and I'm just so glad that a lot of people have loved this, because I can imagine there's a lot of enjoyment in it if you've read it physically and you did love it, but the audiobook for me just didn't hit the spot at all, and I feel like that might have taken some enjoyment out of it for me, but I just persevered with it, whatever, and that's just how it's gone for me. But there were a couple of ratings that were lower than what I'm rating this that really hit the nail on the head for me with this, and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's exactly how I feel about this. So for me, this is going to be a 3 stars. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So for me, if I didn't hate a book but I didn't love it, I'd give it 3 stars, because it was a good book, but I didn't love it, if that makes sense. So for me, this is a 3-star rating, which is a bit of a shame. I was really expecting it to be like a 4.55 star, but you're not going to love everything that everybody else loves, and that's okay. So yeah, a 3-star for me. So we've got a plan. It's going, I'm not doing too bad. Out of the 5 that I've read so far, 2 have been 5-star, 1 has been 4-star, 1's been 3, and I've DNF'd another, so that's not too bad. Pretty good ratings overall, so I'm kind of happy with how it's going so far. Obviously I'll just do a general review at the end of the readathon and see whose books I liked the best. I can't remember off the top of my head now whose books are whose, but yeah, so far we're doing okay. I'm happy with how it's going. So yeah, I will check back in with you again when I've got something to tell you. It might be the end of this week coming up or whatever, but yeah, I'll keep you posted. Bye for now. Okay, so the wrap up. That was a very strange introduction to do because I already knew how the books end, like what I thought of the books, so it was a really weird introduction to do. But you are going to have some shocks, I think. Some are going to be predictable and some are going to be some shocks. So let's get into this because we might be here a while. The first book, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I was picking this up because of Ashley and Jade. So I DNF'd this book, which is a shock to me as well as everybody else. I read 120 pages. I have no idea what happened in those 120 pages. Not a clue. I couldn't tell you a single name of any of the characters in this book. I know that there might have been a dragon once or twice, and that's about it. Also, it's set in the east and west of whatever country this is set in. That's literally all I know. I know nothing else. Oh, there was a marriage proposal as well. A political one, not a actual real one, like a love one. A political one, I don't think she said yeah. She said she was going to think about it, I think. But that's all I know that happened. I don't know who it was. I don't know who proposed. I don't know who said that they were going to think about it. I just know, I don't know what happened. I'm very intimidated by this book. It's massive. I also am led to believe that this gets very political and I don't like politics, so I gave it a reasonable time. Like, I've thought about getting to page 200 and then I was like, I just don't know if I can, because it's just other time that I could be spent, because it's quite heavy as well. I'm listening to it relatively slowly, more slower than I would do had I been listening to anything else that I would normally listen to. So I was listening to it on like 1.5 I think, and I was just struggling. It was a real struggle, and I just don't know if high fantasy is my type of thing. Also, I know for a fact that reading books with politics in are definitely not my type of thing. I hadn't realised this was quite so politically driven, which I think it is, and I know that Jade really likes that kind of thing in her books. Fairly certain Ashley does as well, whereas I don't like that kind of thing. I don't like politics in real life. I don't like politics in my books or in movies. In fact, I'm not overly fussed by the politics in movies, but it does bore me a little bit. So yeah, I just couldn't do it, and I'm devastated, absolutely devastated. So I DNF this. I'm really sorry, Ashley and Jade. I have picked other books up that you guys have liked before that I like them, so you know, please still love me. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Then there was The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. I was picking this up because of Nicole, and I really thought this was such a good book. We were following a young boy whose name I can't remember now, but his parents run a mortuary, and his best friend died. Well, ex-best friend. They had a falling out and his best friend died. Well, they had a falling out and his ex-best friend died, and he was helping with, not the embalming process, but you know, doing her makeup and stuff. He does like the makeup on the dead bodies and things after they've been embalmed, ready for the funeral the following day. And he was doing her makeup and things, and then she woke up and she sat up on the table and she did not believe that she was dead. Not for a single second did she believe she was dead. And it's the story of them, I think it's just through one night, I'm fairly certain, of them kind of going through the motions of why they fell out and what caused it and why they didn't become friends again, and all the things that have happened over this period of time that they've been falling out between them, and then her coming to the realization that she is actually in fact dead. And it's just, it was so good. It was really clever. I just loved the friendship between them. It was really, really good, and I just really enjoyed the book. It was very kind of a little bit wholesome and a little bit gross at the same time. It was really, really good, very well written. The audiobook's fantastic. I do recommend it if you haven't listened to it already, but highly recommend. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was so, so good. Really enjoyed it. Then I read The Dry by Jane Harper, and I was picking this one up because of Siobhan. We actually sort of did, you'll have seen it already, possibly. I'll leave a link to it down below if you're interested, but she came down for the weekend and this was one of the books she picked for me, so we picked 2 books for each other. This was one of the books she picked for me because she knew I was doing it for this video, so thank you to her for not adding another book to my pile, which was awesome. But I loved this. This is following Aaron Falk, who is a policeman. He's now a federal policeman, more like working with money and things like that, but he goes back to his hometown of Kiwara, where there has been a drought for the last 2 years. There's been no rain for the last 2 years and things are going south over there. So he goes back to the his hometown to go to his best friend's, well, his childhood best friend's funeral, Jake, because Jake has allegedly killed his wife and son and then himself, leaving his baby daughter to fend for herself essentially. She's now obviously now with her grandparents, Jake's parents, and unfortunately Jake's dad doesn't think that Jake has killed his family. He thinks something else is going on and it's been made to look like a suicide while taking his family down with him because of the drought. So there is that element to it, and then there's a separate element to it where Aaron was run out of town by the townsfolk when he was younger because he was accused of murdering one of the other townsfolk's daughters. And this family are a very strange family, and the girl, Ellie, I think she was called, was a little bit odd. She was nice enough, but she was a little bit odd, and they thought Aaron had something to do with it, so they ran him and his family out of town, and now he's coming back several years later for his friend's funeral. So there's lots of different things going on here. It is set in Australia. The audiobook's very good. The narrator is Australian and it was fantastic. Rather than having an Englishman or an American try and put an Aussie accent on, it was actually an Aussie, and I really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic story. Really loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I will be moving on to the second one soon, hopefully. I just thought it was brilliant. This is at the moment at Duology. I'm really hoping she writes some more of the Aaron Falk series, so's Siobhan, but I don't know whether she will or not. It looks like there's no plans at the moment, but we'll see. Very good book indeed. Then I picked up Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson, and I was picking this one up because of Eric from Break Even Books, and this is such a good book. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I did not realise what this was going into it. I have this really bad habit of reading the back of a book when I pick it up, putting it on my shelves, leaving it a few years, and then when I pick it up I don't read the back of the book again because I want to go in blind. So I didn't even read, I just listened to what Eric had to say about this on his channel. I was like, that sounds amazing, and then picked the book up and then never read the back of it. So I didn't know what this was about, and as it turns out, this is essentially about, there was a war, and so 10 years ago calamity came. It burst in the sky that gave ordinary men and women extraordinary powers. So these people were then called epics, and there was this guy that wanted to be the boss of the epics and sort of control the rest of the people, and it kind of turned everywhere into turmoil a little bit. And then there are a group of vigilantes called the Reckoners who want to obviously take down the epics, but these are just normal ordinary like people, men and women, that are running around trying to take out the epics, who have these different powers. And then there's this young boy called David who's 18 when we sort of get to him. We get his backstory, but then he's 18 when we kind of get to him. And obviously 10 years ago when this all started, a guy called Steelheart, who now runs the epics, killed his dad in a bank robbery type thing. And the thing is, David has sort of spent the last 10 years becoming obsessed with wanting to kill Steelheart in revenge for killing his dad. But he knows one thing that the Reckoners do not know, nobody else knows, and he knows that Steelheart can bleed. Nobody else thinks he can, but he knows he can because his dad got one shot off before he died, and he managed to make Steelheart bleed. So he would be a great addition to the Reckoners, and that's his idea that he wants to get in, that he's got in his head, and he wants to try and become part of the Reckoners team, and that's what we're sort of following here. I believe this is a trilogy with a novella as well, so I'm very excited to continue with the series. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, so awesome recommendation, Eric, thank you so much. and I am buzzing to have picked this one up. I'm very, very happy about it indeed. It's not that long either, so really loved this one. Then I picked up Daisy Jones and the Six, and I picked this up because of Hayley and Bobby. I picked this up because of a lot of people, but for this video I picked this up because of Hayley and Bobby. They love this book so much. I think Hayley's actually reread it like 3 or 4 times as well, which I'm not surprised about at all. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's absolutely fantastic. I loved everything about this book. It was unreal. Sorry if the camera angle's changed a bit, the battery died. My throat is killing. Yeah, I absolutely love this book. It was amazing. So we're following Daisy Jones, who is a young woman who wants to become a singer. She really wants to make it in the business and the music industry, and she is trying to get out there. We're also following a band called The Six, who is made up just of guys, and they're doing a good job, but they're just missing that one little thing. They're getting tours and things like that, but they're just missing something out of the band. It turns out it's Daisy Jones, and this is told in interview format, and it's very, very well done. I just loved it so much. I loved the way it was told. I loved the story itself. I loved everything about it. I love the characters. I loved the rock and roll side of things. It does sort of go into kind of like rock and roll and drugs. There's just very, very good. I loved it so much. Spent a lot of time on my phone trying to Google Daisy Jones and the Six, trying to Google their songs. There's like, Taylor Jenkins Reid has gone to the extent of writing an entire like set of songs in the back, and I was trying to look for the songs. It's just incredible. I was 100% convinced that Daisy Jones and the Six are a band from like back in the 70s. Totally convinced. It was so, so good. I highly recommend the audiobook if you're going to listen to this. I followed along with the book at the same time, and it was just brilliant. I loved it so much, and I would 100% do what Hayley's done and reread this again and again and again. It's fantastic. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Great shout. So good. Then I read Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, and I was picking this up because of Rachel and Kayla. I gave this 3 stars, and I'm a little bit gutted about it. This is following Roger and Dodger. Roger is skilled with words and language, while his twin Dodger, she's skilled with maths and numbers. These two were made, if you like, by a guy called Reed, and they were split up at birth. Essentially, they are not quite there, but could be gods with the skills that they've got, and we are following them over the course of several years, like throughout their lives, and following them separately and then following them essentially coming together and then working together. It's very, very well written. I really enjoyed how it was written. I enjoyed Roger and Dodger as characters. I hated Reed's chapters because I just found him a little bit boring and tedious, but overall I enjoyed it. I think I just struggled a little bit because I felt like maybe it was a little bit too big, a little bit too thick. I just felt like it was maybe a bit too samey, you know, through the middle. I don't know whether that's just me or not, but I don't know. I just found myself losing it a little bit in the middle, and I got a little bit confused. There was a thing that happened towards the end that I wasn't expecting to happen, which was really good, a nice twist. And yeah, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. It was just okay. It was fine. So yeah, a little bit gutted because I thought it was going to be a 5-star read for me, but I did find what happened was I started this really early on in the month in February, and then I put it down for about 2 weeks, and then finally came back to it, and I was like, okay, we're back in the story now. But because of that reason, I just felt like if I can put a book down for 2 weeks, maybe I'm not going to enjoy it as much. After saying that, I'm literally reading Queen of Air and Darkness at the moment, and I've had that's been put down since about August. But I think it's just because of the sheer size of it, I'm overwhelmed with it, not because I'm not liking the story, because I'm actually really enjoying the story. But anyway, we're not here for Queen of Air and Darkness, we're here for Middle Game. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It was just okay. It was fine. I don't know what else to say. It was just okay. Then I went on to The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I was picking this up because of Becca, from Becca and the Books. And I originally picked this book up a year or 2 ago because of G from Book Roast. And this is one of her favourite sci-fi series, I'm fairly certain anyway. She really enjoyed it anyway. I DNF'd this. I'm sorry, Becca. I DNF'd it. I just couldn't do it. This is very character driven, which is great, but I like my books to be character driven and also have some action in them. So there's something needs to happen in order for it to keep my attention, otherwise I'm going to get really, really bored. So I just, for example, the Wayward Children series is very, very character driven, but something, despite how small the books are, something always happens and keeps your attention and wants you to come back for more. Whereas with this, it was very character driven. The only character I actually cared about was Kizzy, because she's batshit crazy and I just thought she was hilarious. I didn't care about any of the other characters, can't remember any of their names at all. In fact, the only other storyline that I was invested in inside this story was one of the guys is in a bit of a relationship with the ship's android thing, like AI, not android, the ship's AI, if that makes sense, and he wants to make her a actual person, like put her in an actual, I don't know, android body or something. I don't even know the names of them. So it's just a lot going on, lots of characters, lots of character development, which is great. But I got bored. I got really, really bored, and I DNF'd about 249 pages in. Yeah, 249 pages in, I DNF'd it. There were several ample opportunities for something to happen, but they made it an issue, and then they resolved it very, very quickly, very, very nicely, and I just couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with how nice this book was, which sounds completely ridiculous, but I just need some adventure, I need some action, I need something to happen. I just couldn't. I like adventure in my sci-fi, do you know what I mean? Like, and I just struggled. I couldn't do it. I had to put it, I DNF'd it. I'm really sorry. I couldn't do it. And then finally was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I picked this up because of Gav, G, Tia and Desi, and also because there was a million other people in the world that have really loved this book. Yet again, Taylor Jenkins Reid has knocked it out of the park. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I listened to the audio while I was following along with the book, and it was awesome. I had a wild ride with this. This is fantastic. We're following Evelyn Hugo, who is now a retired actress, and she is writing her memoirs. She wants a local magazine reporter, Monique Grant, who is essentially unknown. She's not written anything of any. She's written like one article, which was way back when, and she's not written anything much else, to be honest, but she seeked Monique out, and it becomes very clear towards the end the reason why that has happened. But Monique, it's sort of interview format again, and it's very, very, very cleverly done. Yet again, I was on the phone trying to figure out who Evelyn Hugo was and what movies she was in and things like that, and obviously she's a fictional character, so it was so, so good. I'm so glad that I found 2 new historical fiction favourites with this reader, with this video, and they're both by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm very excited to pick up more from her, but this was fantastic and I do highly recommend it. This is obviously following Evelyn, telling the story of why she wanted to become an actress, how she became an actress, and then the 7 husbands that she obviously married and what happened to them, with a twist. And it was fantastic, and I just recommend it to everybody. It was outstanding. I love it so, so much, and I highly recommend it. So out of the books, the 8 books that I read, I DNF'd 2, which were The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet and The Priory of the Orange Tree. I gave a 3-star to Middle Game. I gave a 4-star to, oh, it's not here, The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried. And then The Dry, Steelheart, Daisy Jones and the Six, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo got 5 stars. So that was an awesome shout from you, booktubers. Thank you so much for your favourite books videos, because obviously without them I couldn't do this video. I know a couple of other people have done this since, but obviously it's like a month-long video to do unless you read them all in a week, which I wasn't doing. So I got the idea from doing this from Kayla, though. I know she's done this a couple of times. She's done it very recently for the 2019 books. So I just sort of wanted to credit that. This is not an original idea by any means. I never come up with original ideas. I'm shit with that. Kayla's awesome with it, but I'm shit with it. But yeah, I know a couple of other people that have done this. I know from Jess from Peace Love Books. She's done this. And I know a couple of other people have done it as well. But I had a really good time. It was really good. I am just gutted about some of the books, though. Like, I'm devastated about Priory of the Orange Tree, and I'm absolutely gutted about The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I really wanted to love that series, and I can't do it. So it all's well that ends well, though. I found a couple of new favourites, and there's definitely a couple of books in here that are going to end up on my top 10, if not my top 5. So yeah, really well done overall. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please chat to me in the comments down below. I really want to know what your thoughts were on this. I know a couple of you will not agree with me DNFing The Priory of the Orange Tree, or probably A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, because I know that the favourites across all of book communities, so I apologise. They're just not my kind of thing, unfortunately, which is a shame, but we're all different, aren't we? We're not all going to love everything. So yeah, but I had a blast with this. I had a really good time. Thanks to the booktubers for their videos originally. I will link all of the booktubers in the comments down below as well, so you can go and check them out. I highly recommend checking them out. There is a huge mix, actually. The reason why I wanted to do it this way around was I wanted a mix between big booktubers, so like Kayla and G, and then some of the smaller booktubers, some of my friends that I've made recently on booktube and on book twitter. So some of the smaller booktubers like Siobhan and Eric and Tia. So I just wanted to sort of have a full range of booktubers that I wanted to sort of use. I wanted to get Cody and Brittany on here as well, like Cody from Cody's Book Corner and Brittany from Brittany the Bibliophile, but unfortunately their videos went up a bit later than when I started this. In fact, I don't even know if Cody's has gone up yet. I apologise if it has, but I will link them down below as well because I've just mentioned them. But yeah, so I had a blast doing this, so thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Please give it a like if you have. I'd really appreciate it. If you're not already, please subscribe. Again, I would really appreciate it, and I shall see you next time. Bye for now.